Recently, Todd Howard sat down and had an interview at the E3, and he did say a few interesting things. For example, he did confirm that Starfield is going to be single player.
Right?
Yes, yes.
Does that mean it's single player only? It won't have online? Like you're focusing that on just a single player experience?
Its focus is single player. Whether it
Okay.
has some social connection, I don't know.
Right.
I don't want to guess right now.
Okay.
But that's our focus for that game.
It's not one of these share world games we get to follow, but it's very much like your next big epic single player.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what he means by social connections. I mean, he could be talking about the Steam overlay, chatting to your friends whilst in game. He could be talking about some sort of option to publish your character or your details online. I'm not totally sure what that means, but he did confirm that it's single player focused. Now, that terminology is probably important. It means they're going to make a single player game, I think. They're going to make a single player game. That's what they're focused on. But if they happen to feel there's a way to get multiplayer in there, they might. At least that's how I'm reading what he says. But I'm okay with that. If you had something like Skyrim as a single player game and they'd built in some option that did actually allow other people to join me in a multiplayer experience or added it later on, that might have been kind of cool. Of course, mod makers have been trying to get that working. So as long as the game itself is focused on being a good single player experience, as in you can jump in, start a game, work your way through, finish the game by yourself without needing anyone else, without getting interference from anyone else, that's what's important. And I think he was saying that. Unfortunately, if you were hoping for the same option in Fallout 76, you are going to be disappointed. There is no single player option in that game.
You can play solo, but a lot of people were asking me, it's like, can I play offline?
You cannot. You will
Okay.
see, even if you're playing by yourself doing quests,
Yep.
you will see other players.
Okay.
And you can interact with them or you can ignore them because
Yep.
there is a quest line. One of the main things that I saw feedback was when we say there are no NPCs.
Okay.
Okay, so that's one of the big differences that we really leaned on, which is every human, every character you see is a real person.
Yeah.
But there are still robots and terminals and holotapes. If you see a lot of the quests we do in Fallout 4 that are kind of this found world
Yeah.
quest thing, we still do all of that.
So yeah, no single player experience. You can avoid other people if you want, but they will probably be there. And in fact, they are going to be the only other humans. You may find some robots, you may find some terminals that will give you some sort of quests, but you're not going to be having a huge dialogue experience chatting to settlers. It's going to be other players doing what other players do. And I'm not even totally sure how much control you're going to have over who gets to play alongside you. I don't know if you can invite friends and then flag it as and nobody else. I want to be on a server all by myself or something like that. Because one of the things they did say in the initial presentation is you will never actually see a server. You won't be able to choose a server. So we're not 100% sure how this is going to work, whether they're going to set up instances and how much control you have over those instances. That, of course, brings up the question of how they're going to handle PvP. Is it going to be optional? Is it something that you have the potential to do? Or is it something that you have no choice but to do?
There's always PvP, like you can never, it's all,
Well, first of all, I'd say we're still dialing that.
Okay.
We don't want it to be griefy, but we want to have some drama there.
Okay.
So there is a way that you can decide to do PvP, and we are currently balancing kind of the incentives for someone who wants to be very aggressive to people and those who want to ignore it.
Yeah.
And that really comes down to, the in-game incentives and then also the social incentives. But I would say we don't want it to be griefy in any way.
Okay.
And we'll dial it in so people can say, look, I don't want to deal with that.
So you can pick. It's like I don't want PvP.
Well,
You want a little bit of a little fear, I guess. It sounds
we want a little bit of drama there without them ruining your game.
Okay.
That seemed a bit of a non-committal answer. There's a way to choose to do PvP if you're an aggressive sort of player, but when pushed to confirm, you could actually say, I don't want to do PvP. That doesn't seem to be an option. It looks like you will always have the potential to get ganked, and there's no way to avoid it totally. They are, of course, trying to balance this, and I do understand that. And a lot of it's going to depend what sort of server stroke instance type connections they do. If you can control who can join you, if you can actually specify, I only want friends, etc., maybe it won't be a problem. But if there's no way to do that, if you could play with 4 or 5 friends, but it will not prevent other people from joining you, you will get some randomers, then you will get griefed, there will be griefing, it's going to be a thing, and how the hell they stop that is beyond me. And in a game that has nukes, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? They also talked about VATs because, of course, in an online game, slowing down time is not really an option, but it looks like VATs is going to be there, and it is going to give you some sort of assist. So if you're not a super Twitch player, you're probably still going to be able to do okay with this if your character has developed enough, which does suggest there's going to be a reasonable character development system as well.
A lot of people are wondering, VATs, obviously, in an online environment, how is that going to be accomplished?
Still there.
Okay,
it's real time.
So it's real time VATs?
Yeah.
Okay. Not slowing time, really?
Well, it doesn't slow time.
Right, yeah.
But it lets you target and pick parts and all of that, but it's in real time. It still works great.
Yep.
It's different, obviously, because it's real time.
Yeah.
But the basics of it, which are, well, I'm not that good of a Twitch shooter.
Yep.
You see some other games. What's a good reference point? I won't even mention it. People will dig into it too much.
Right.
But you can kind of picture how it works.
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm not as good at lining up someone and getting a headshot, but I've made my character good at VATs. Oh, and now I can do that.
Okay. Do you see this as sort of, a game as a service where there's going to be content, there's going to be endgame raids? I mean, is it like, are you treating it like this, where it's sort of going to continue to evolve over time?
Absolutely.
Release the Sterling! Oh, God. Oh, my God. We know there's an episode of the Jimquisition coming up about this, don't we? Oh, my God. I mean, the second I heard that, I lost it. I really did. Okay, so anyway, one really important topic for those of you watching my channel, of course, is mods. And he did address that somewhat.
Now, the fans, I think, want to know about mods in an online environment. It's such a huge part of, your games over the years, BGS. How are you going to treat the idea of mods or user content in this environment?
We love mods, and so we are 100% committed to doing that in 76 as well.
Okay.
We will not be able to do that at launch, though.
Yep.
Our goal for launch, this is really new for us, is have a well-running, robust service, and then some period later, we're currently still designing what that service looks like. You'll be able to have your own private world and be able to mod it and do all of that. We think with our games, that's where the long-term life of them really is.
Yeah.
That is trickier when you get into an online world, but we're definitely committed to that. Just won't be at launch.
So there you have it. At launch, there will be no mod support, but after a while, you may be able to have modded private worlds. He did say private worlds, not private servers. I'm not sure if there's a difference there, so I don't know how they will do that. And of course, he's not committed to doing that. One thing people should realize is, generally speaking, BGS don't officially support modding when their games release. Fallout 4 didn't, and Skyrim didn't. It was about 6 weeks after Skyrim came out that they brought out the creation kit, and it was several months with Fallout 4. This does not mean the modding community does not have the technical know-how and tools to actually start modding. As you all know, both of those games got mods day one, but you had to do some tweaking to allow the mods. It is theoretically possible, if they're using the same engine, the community might be able to do that. This, of course, allows some potential cheating. So my guess is they're going to have some kind of mechanism to detect if people have done this. So that is going to be very interesting. As for allowing private worlds later on where you have mods, I'm still not 100% sure how that is going to work. Is everybody who joins you going to require the same set of mods? Will the mods be uploaded to you automatically? If so, does that mean it's only going to be Bethesda net? There's a host of issues there, and I mean, obviously, if they allowed us to set up private servers, invite-only servers, it would be very different. We could have something like the Minecraft server, but a Fallout 76 server, and set up the mods we want, and as long as everyone has them, we're fine. But it's a little up in the air. I would actually say I'm going to not hold my breath for mod support. The other thing that makes me wonder about modding for this game is the community itself. If they don't allow modding straight away, and it's only going to be for people with private worlds, is there going to be the same demand for those mods that there are in their normal single-player games? Remember, people start playing something like Fallout 4 and they can almost immediately start modding, and they can mod whatever they want. They don't have to worry about any other people. There's no requirements. With an online game, you're going to have to use mods that are acceptable in the world you're going to enter into, or maybe you don't. I don't know. This is the thing. We don't know how this is going to work. But it is good that they are actually thinking of allowing it. I really am interested as to how they're going to do this. And I'm also interested in how they will prevent mods at launch, actually. This is going to be interesting because, I mean, they almost certainly can't prevent you modifying your game, but they're probably going to have some system for checking when you join an online game that you're not actually doing that. So this is going to be somewhat interesting, isn't it? I did like the fact that he mentioned mods and said he loved them, and I liked the fact that he acknowledged that mods are part of the reason that BGS games have longevity. That is actually a good sign, because it's something I've been arguing for a long time, especially when people say, well, you know, Bethesda are bound to try and look for a way to monetize modding because, you know, why should they just allow people to mod and get nothing from it? And I've always argued they do get something from it. It's a major selling point for their games, and it's a major reason their games sell years and years after most other games would have lost relevance. So I was very happy to hear that. So overall, this interview was not too unsurprising. It was nice that he confirmed Starfield is going to be single player, and I'm assuming by inference so is The Elder Scrolls 6. But again, I wouldn't be too surprised to see some multiplayer elements turning up in those games, but they will not be the focus. It's pretty much confirmed that Fallout 76 is not a single player game, that you will have other players, you will probably have no choice but to get in the occasional PvP scrap. You will be able to use VATs, so there is some sort of character development, and at launch there will be no mods, and you should probably not make any purchasing decisions based upon the idea that there might one day be mods. I would say, if you're going to buy this game at launch, buy it because of its unmodded state, and wait and see. If you really only are interested in modded games, wait and see what happens. Okay, guys, that is my take on the Todd Howard interview. I look forward to reading your comments down below. I am curious as to how you read his comments and what your feelings are now for Fallout 76. Has this made you feel better about Fallout 76? Has it made you feel a little better about BGS and their future single-player games? And or has it done the opposite? Has it just made you think, nope, Fallout 76, definitely not for me? I am kind of curious now. So, thank you for listening, and I'll speak to you guys next time.
The fate of this new world is yours to command with the power of the atom.